This story comes from a period of historical material that has been dusted and forgotten by history, but reading it today, there is still suspense. For a long time, I never understood the name and concept of double agents. If a person spies for one country or nation or political belief, it seems unlikely that he will serve two opposing countries or political forces at the same time, which is subjectively speaking. If a person is a spy for financial or other personal gain, how can the two hostile countries and political forces that employ him trust the spy? This is objectively speaking. The above confusion surrounded me until I saw the following story. During World War II, the Far East Intelligence Department of the Japanese Kwantung Army in Xinjiang, Changchun, Major Chitian of the Japanese-Russian Intelligence Department, acquired the habit of smoking a lot of opium smoke cigarettes during his long-term, dry and boring intelligence analysis work. But smoking a lot of opium smoke cigarettes costs a lot, and a cigarette bubble is worth almost half a month's salary of Major Chitian during the war. What to do? The owner of the tobacco shop is a master of reselling materials in demand, and Chitian and the shop boss have been getting acquainted with each other, so he exchanges the surplus photographic film at work with the owner of the tobacco shop for opium cigarette bubbles. At first he used the excess film to exchange cigarette bubbles, but later Chitian's smoke was too big, so naturally he couldn't afford to pay for it, so he often went to the material supply department of the intelligence department to get new film. If you often walk by the river, how can you not get your shoes wet? Late Chitian's excessive film expenditure soon caught the attention of his superiors and the gendarmerie command. Chitian naturally found himself being targeted by others due to his professional habits and vigilance, the so-called cunning rabbit 3 caves. In the battlefield of the Japanese and Soviet Eastern Front, there is no dawn of victory, Chitian. In order to leave a way back for himself, he has long been in contact with the local Sofia Cathedral Father Stephen. Through Father Stephen, Chitian finally got in touch with the Soviet military intelligence agencies and successfully defected to the Soviet Union on a dark and windy night. Chitian brought a rich meeting gift to General Kulikov of the Soviet Army, the latest information on the deployment of the Japanese Kwantung Army and Navy in the Far East. However, to Chitian's surprise, General Kulikov told Chitian when he met him for the first time, "Although we know that you are a fake defector and a real spy, we are still happy to cooperate with you. We have identified the information you have brought to us which is false and which is true. In order to send your superior, General Ichiro Itagaki of the Far East Intelligence Department of the Japanese Kwantung Army, believing that you have gained our trust, we will deliberately counterattack the Japanese troops and your false information, so that some units of our Soviet Army will be attacked by the Japanese and suffer losses, but we will bear such losses in order for you to become our double agent." In order to show his trust in Chitian, General Kulikov deliberately leaked to Chitian the name of the Japanese Army Colonel Nakazawa, who was going to connect with Chitian in the future, and made Chitian mistakenly believe that Colonel Nakazawa was also a spy planted by the Soviet Union, resulting in Colonel Nakazawa, who was loyal to the Japanese emperor, being arrested because of Chitian's information. Subsequently, the Soviets suffered losses due to the disinformation provided by Chitian and arrested Chitian. However, General Kulikov told Chitian that our arrest of you was fake, that you would be sent back to the Japanese army as our spy, and that Father Stephen would continue to contact you. Then the Soviets negotiated with the Japanese army and offered to exchange Chitian with a Soviet spy who had been arrested by the Japanese army. When Chitian returned to the office of General Ichiro Itagaki, head of the Japanese Far East Intelligence Department, General Itagaki Ichiro fell into deep thought. Is this Major Chitian in front of him still the original spy Chitian who was loyal to the Japanese emperor? Here, the interesting question is, if the reader is in the position of General Itagaki Ichiro, can he continue to trust Chitian 100%? Seeing this, I have to admit that the countermeasures of the Soviet intelligence services have been used perfectly. The Soviet side deliberately lost ground troops, but it caused suspicion and dilemma among the Japanese intelligence services. On Chitian's side, no matter how much he confessed his loyalty to the emperor, he could not rule out the investigation and suspicion of his superiors. Chitian often remembered what General Kulikov of the Soviet Army said to him when he was leaving. "When you return, Instead of being suspected and executed by your own people, you should cooperate with us, and there will be a bright future waiting for you after the war. In this way, Chidien, who was originally completely loyal to Japan, was pushed into a position where he had to act as a double spy. My understanding is, a spy, he is first and foremost a man. In order to complete the espionage mission, he must first ensure that he can survive. If he can't survive himself, then his beliefs and tasks can't be talked about. But that's where a spy comes in. Once you grasp this, you can turn the enemy spy into a double agent for your own use. I have written this small tidbit sealed in the historical materials of World War II to bring readers a little aftertaste. Dear friends, this video has ended. Zhang will play a video with a completely different theme in a few days at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to like and subscribe before leaving. Thank you, everyone.